New Trump ketchup spiller, if you get what I mean, was recently found to have ties with the Ukrainian government. Now, here's where it gets very interesting, because if you don't know anything that's been going on for the past few months or years, you need to watch this, because this is going to be a wake-up video. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip, but after this, I'm going to show you guys some astounding evidence to show that Ukraine might be involved.
Good morning. Most wonder what I'm doing in Ukraine. This is about a center to help people when they come from other countries around the world have a location, someone to talk to as a greeting committee to get them in the location that they need to be. So that's the whole focus of this project, is to help foreigners be as useful as possible. That's our mission and job here, to get everybody where they need to be to maximize their potential. And everyone here is self-funded, so everyone's out of money and struggling to buy fuel and get everything they need just to survive. So any support
Guys,
would be,
I'm just like losing brain cells listening to this dude. But basically what he's saying is that he is a recruiter for the war in Ukraine, and everyone that is sent over there is self-funded. So this means that basically everyone purchased their tickets to go to Ukraine. Everyone pays for their food, their hotel, all that stuff. The Ukrainian government isn't paying for anything, allegedly. But what makes it very interesting, too, is he actually made a few posts on his Facebook account, which, if you guys don't know anything about Mr. Mark, he tends to censor things working with daddy government. But anyway, long story short, we had someone that actually recorded his Facebook profile, and we were able to get some cool, interesting posts that actually show the fact that not only was he recruiting people for the Ukraine war, American citizens to be more specific, but he actually mentioned something that's very interesting. He only wanted people that had a military background and fit a specific criteria. This is, guys, the literal definition of looking for the perfect mind control victims. This is the definition of looking for the perfect mercenary or military soldiers to be used for their satanic agendas. Literally what it is. And I thought this tweet was a little funny. I know it's a little off track, but it says, "Say the line, FBI, he was on our radar." Quite literally, this is what they always say. He was on our radar. Yeah, bro, we get it. Actually do something about it, you satanic puppets. But anyways, guys, as we get into the next tweet, this is where it gets very interesting, because let's watch this video very quickly.
Ukraine is reluctant to be cooperative.
That's Ryan Ruth, a U.S. citizen who set up the International Volunteer Center in Ukraine to help connect foreigners to Ukrainian military units.
Now I'm talking to over 100 soldiers every day, and pretty much everybody, all of my contacts in Ukraine, they were adamant and pretty much yelled at me every time that I suggested that we bring in Afghans.
The Ukrainian government didn't respond to our request for comment.
That's crazy, guys. They're literally asking the Ukrainian government for a response, and they have received no response thus far. But what makes it even more interesting, guys, is that he actually has a connection with the Ukrainian government very strongly, it appears. In 2002, Trump assassin Ryan Wesley Ruth was arrested for possessing a weapon of mass destruction. Yet his punishment was shockingly light. Probation. That's wild, guys. That's literally unheard of for a weapon of mass destruction. I see people carrying lighter weapons than mass destruction. They get 20 years easily. That's wild, guys. The Department of Homeland Security defines a weapon of mass destruction as nuclear, radiological, chemical, or biological designed to inflict mass harm. So this is a very serious weapon, guys. This isn't just a regular pistol or AK or something like that. This is a very huge weapon that could cause millions of lives to be passed away. So this is a very serious crime, and he just got probation. There's clearly something corrupt here, guys. Maybe he made a pact with the daddy government saying, "Oh, okay, if you just give me probation, then I'll go ahead and do the dirty deed you want me to do." And that's why he was about to spill Mr. Trump's ketchup everywhere. Makes sense now, right, guys? It's called blackmail. There's no doubt he was working for intelligence agencies. That's without a doubt, guys. Without a doubt. But again, this is all allegedly, right? But what makes it very interesting is, again, guys, the videos that we actually have saved. So apparently this is a guy from Hawaii, But this is where it gets interesting, guys. Let's go ahead. I'm not going to make you guys watch this whole little thing. Let's just go ahead and scroll past it. But he basically made a little post saying, "Soldiers, please do not call me. We are still trying to get Ukraine to accept Afghan soldiers and hope to have some answers in the coming months. If you are interested in fighting in Ukraine, you must have a passport and send it to me by the way of WhatsApp to my number. You must also have the money to purchase an airplane ticket to Moldova. If you cannot afford the cost, you cannot go. We are also trying to get Taiwan to accept soldiers, hopefully, in the coming years. Please have patience, Ryan." So clearly, there's a huge amount of countries working together. We have Ukraine, we have Taiwan, we have Moldova and Afghanistan. They're somehow all interconnected, whether they're enemies or allies. They're all interconnected within this war and this satanic agenda that's going on. And it's not just them, obviously. There's other nations involved, but these are just the ones that we see listed, right? And he's making it very clear that he's recruiting people and they want them to be able to afford their own visas, to afford their own transportation and all that stuff. And this is a official Ukrainian document, guys. I mean, just look at that. I can't even make it up. But what's here, it's even interesting, is he wants some kind of Afghans to work with them for some reason. And I'm going to explain why that is in a bit. But basically, if we look at this, it says we currently need Afghan Special Forces soldiers that speak perfect English. Send me your passport, military certificates, CV in one file by WhatsApp to my number. Do not call me. So they're basically trying to get specific soldiers from America, from Afghanistan, and different parts of the world to work together. What I find very interesting is that they have this map of Palestine, Old and New Testament journeys for the deeds of Jesus. Wow, that's interesting. I am unclear what part of Israel the Jews own based on the historic app Judea, perhaps. It seems to historically all been Palestinian. So here he's coming with his like liberal mentality and mindset. I'm not going to get into the whole Israel-Palestine debate. We already know from a biblical perspective that God gave the land to Israel, right? That's just the reality. That's what the Bible teaches. And that's just the reality all throughout history. But anyway, guys, as we continue to look at this, it says Ukraine has agreed to start with 100 soldiers and work up to 3,000 or more. But considering you had to send me a full file with a copy inside of it, your passport, CV in English, and all your military certificates, we don't want your pics. Just put them in one file on WhatsApp. Okay. So it seems like he was getting hundreds of messages because he was like, I can't answer all your messages. That's wild, guys. That's actually crazy, guys. So he actually put up flags in Taiwan's park. Wow. That's crazy. Whoa, that's actually really crazy. The stuff that this guy was doing was no good. The New York Times wrote a profile on Ryan W. Roth back in 2023. He helped recruit fighters to Ukraine. Today, he tried to Trump. That's the reality, guys. This is who this guy is. He's definitely working as some sort of double agent or some kind of blackmail dude sent by the Ukrainian government or something like that. Something is just very fishy about it. But guys, and I just want to make this very clear because as soon as people see, Mr. Kremlin, people automatically think that you have some kind of crazy agenda. And this is not the reality, guys. I do not support communism or anything like that. But there are definitely things a lot deeper than we see on the surface level. There's a lot of things that happen in the supernatural realm that people cannot comprehend because they just look at things externally on the surface level, guys. This is very deep because it says Mr. Kremlin has firmly stated that if the U.S. allows Ukraine to use long-range missiles against Russia, Europe and all NATO countries will be drawn into a nuclear war. You won't even have to blink your eyes when we carry out Article 5 of the Roman Treaty. Roman has the most confirmed nuclear weapons with over 5,500 nuclear warheads. So the reason why he's saying this, guys, is because recently, and this is literally as of September 12th, right now as I'm making this video, it is the 14th, going on to the 15th right now. And so basically, Putin is basically letting them know that if you want to go to war, we can go to war. If you agree to go to war with Ukraine, we're going to go to war. And Donald J. Trump, the one who's running for president right now, is saying we actually don't want to work with Ukraine anymore because we don't want to go to war with Russia. But what's happening now is he actually got an attempt on his life by an individual from Ukraine, sent by the Ukrainian government. So clearly this is a way because the Ukrainian government doesn't want Trump alive. And it's clear because if Trump's alive, then guess what happens? If Trump stays alive, Ukraine is over. The money laundering scheme that the BlackRock, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Chase, and all these huge corporations profit off of the Ukrainian war with Russia no longer is a thing. This is the reason why the Ukrainian prime minister wants Donald J. Trump gone. Allegedly, by the way, right? This is all alleged. And I know I sound crazy to a lot of you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my evidence. And this is actually coming from Robert F.K. Jr. Very, 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 very smart
Russians,
geopolitical issues, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it, though.
This is a war that should have never happened. It's a war that Russians tried repeatedly to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? Because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed, get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give.
So if you guys don't understand what he's saying, he's basically saying that they kind of created so that they're the only people that they can buy from. So if Ukraine joins NATO, they can only spend money on military equipment from those companies. They cannot buy from some random company called Fanta. They are forced to go through Lockheed Martin. They are forced to go through Raytheon and all these other military contract companies that work together. That's the reason why they do these wars, so that they can keep funneling money and making a bunch of money for themselves, making themselves rich. They're literally empires.
To give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since then, 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry, it's not really going to Ukraine.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate, said, don't worry, it's not a gift to Ukraine, it's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that that loan's ever getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? Because if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost, Ukrainian kids, have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies? Yeah, BlackRock. And then in December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract? BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us. They don't even care that we know anymore, because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other. They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, black against white, and all these divisions that they sow.
Amen, guys. Exactly. That's exactly what they do, and it's very sad. And honestly, man, this dude RFK, he speaks a lot of truth on these things. He's I guess a very underrated individual. But it's really true what's going on, because what he's saying is they're just basically using this as some sort of money laundering scheme. And I hate to say it, but it's the reality, guys. If you guys aren't aware already, guys, the reality is Ukraine is owned. Just like most nations in the world, they're owned. So if you look at Ukraine, for example, Ukraine is not its own country. Ukraine is owned by BlackRock. Look at Zelensky. He's literally meeting up with BlackRock, JP Morgan, and the other new owners of Ukraine. Jamie Dimon.
Thank you so much.
Did he say God bless you?
Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Wow, the disrespect, bro. Disrespectful, man. God bless you, bro. They don't believe in Jesus. That's so disrespectful.
Great to see you.
That's wild, guys. That's crazy. They're all smiling because, look, they're bringing all that money back to their country. Look at that. Zelensky doesn't even look too happy, to be honest, guys. He looks kind of like furious or sad or scared. He really does. But, you know, he's happy because these satanic puppets are going to control Ukraine. They love the power. They love the money. They love what they can do to people. And look, I don't know who this gentleman is right here, but he makes a really great point with this.
Because the goal is not to completely subjugate Afghanistan. The goal is to use Afghanistan to wash money out of the tax bases of the United States, out of the tax bases of European countries, through Afghanistan, and back into the hands of a transnational security elite. That is the goal, i.e. the goal is to have an endless war, not a successful war.
And that's exactly what's going on. So whenever we see this guy who was the assassination individual, right, to put it simple, he basically was saying that he wanted people from America and Afghanistan in the war with Ukraine. Why is that? Because it's an endless war. And that's exactly what he's literally just talking about. He said this like probably years ago, and he's talking about how basically that this was an endless war. That's the objective. That's the goal, guys. Very, very crazy, guys. That's the satanic world that we live in. And this, as you guys can see, is all interconnected because they are all controlled by the same puppets. Let me know what you guys think about this. It was your boy, Nate. I really enjoy giving you guys this message. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, share it with someone that you believe could learn from this. And I hope that y'all have a blessed day. God bless you.